Hey everybody, Jason Burmis here, and I thought that this story was really important because it's a story about how they're spinning, first of all, a quote-unquote woke culture. I hate using that terminology. I think it's ludicrous. I think it's nonsensical. I think it's a parody of itself. But basically, Google protesters have stopped some of the very big programs. Now, as to what length, I really can't be sure. I think that Google has plenty of tricks up their sleeve. But I wanted to go to this headline right here. And it says, revealed how Google is being held hostage, by woke employees who torpedoed lucrative Pentagon contracts and a deal with China. Let's stop there. Let's look at what those Pentagon contracts were, okay? Google hedges on promise to end controversial involvement in military drone contract. So at first they said they were going to repeal this, and all I could say is, you mean you don't want to program autonomous drones that'll take out domestic terrorists that have now been labeled as conspiracy theorists, and you just made everybody a conspiracy theorist a week ago. Anybody who questions Epstein's got to be a conspiracy theorist. You could be a domestic terrorist. I could see why this is a problem. So this was back in March of 2019. And, they made promises. And supposedly, eventually after this move, where 4,000 peoples walked out on the military drone AI project, hey, thank you. You notice the media didn't tell you a lot about that? They weren't like, by the way, a bunch of employees at Google decided they didn't want to program their impending deaths for the military. Shocking, huh? But no, there were just these small little headlines. Engadget has an article here. So, first of all, kudos to those people that decided, hey, human beings are a little bit more important than me spending my time programming drones that will eventually be used to kill a bunch of innocent brown people overseas, and then after that, who knows? Who knows, right? So one of the other things that they're talking about here is the don't bid for a border control cloud contract. Now let's stop. I am not anti-border control, but let's talk about it as reasonable human beings for a second. Where do the drugs really come from? If we were to close off that border, right, do you think the drugs don't get here somehow? Do you think it was a fluke when they found 20 tons of pure cocaine on a J.P. Morgan boat that was linked to Italian billionaires? We did that story. It got a little traction. But just to show you how that should have been a top story, it was the biggest bust ever of cocaine. It was over 15,000 kilos, shipped with 20 tons of cocaine owned by J.P. Morgan Chase. And where are those Forbes. It has Italian billionaire ties. Who's really running the drugs? Is it El Chapo and his cronies? Sure, they have something to do with it. But when you look at the Iran-Contra affair, when you look at that network, if you don't think they're going to find a way to get these drugs into here, you have another thing coming. That's not to say I'm opposed to some type of a wall. Actually, I think that's a good idea. Then you can't as easily make those excuses. But let's talk about ICE, because that's what we're really talking about here. We're talking about ICE contracts, right? ICE is a division of Homeland Security. Homeland Security, I hate to tell you, I know I have an older crowd, so a lot of you get this, does not need to exist. We had Border Patrol before that. If we were to get rid of Homeland Security, we'd have Border Patrol after that. I don't like Homeland Security. I didn't like Deutschland Security under the Nazis, a.k.a. Fatherland Security. It was a new intelligence-level bureaucracy that came into fruition in this track trace database society through 9/11, and you know how I feel about that. But if I use the term, false flag, that's in that FBI document, and I could be a domestic terrorist. You'd think we were really living in the times of Orwell, but on a lot of levels we are. The telescreens that were in your homes, they're in your pockets, okay? We did that story yesterday, yet more confirmation that, yes, they are listening. to what you have to say. I've already talked about the ACR technology. That's how the ads come about, automated content recognition, ASR, automated speech recognition, okay? And a lot of times they spin it that they're not actually listening or recording the phone call. They're delivering it to an algorithmic system that then takes that information, sorts it, and then advertises to you as if that's any better. But remember, the new Facebook story was, oh yeah, you know those little audio messages you were using in Messenger with people? Yeah, we were having people manually transcribe that for the purposes of running them through new artificial intelligence algorithms to better them. That's the reality. These people aren't doing bad things. They're not the greatest. You look at James Damore, for instance. Poor James Damore, man. I think that eventually he is going to be absolutely vindicated on this. I think he's going to end up making a pretty penny, but I think also that story will kind of be put into the backdrop. Obviously, the conservative end of the media of that false left-right paradigm will promote it, but how much traction it will actually get really is beyond me, because I do believe there are reasonable people on the left that think that James Damore did nothing wrong. You know, he pointed out the biological differences between men and women in 2017 now. I don't even know. Was it in 2018? January 2018. So, yeah, he might have actually, I do believe that the memo is from 2017. So, I mean, a year and a half ago, you weren't allowed to point that out. You got the can. We already know there's a 950-page document out there showing the algorithmic, quote-unquote, bias. But is it really a conservative bias? When do I get my hands on that 950-page document? Because I got to tell you, although I probably won't be able to read the whole thing, I'm already going through these Epstein documents, 2,000-plus pages. I know what key words are. And I guarantee it's not just conservative. It's not just Trump. There's plenty of other things on the menu. Probably that cross-reference that FBI document that we read here. I mean, that's the reality of the situation. We don't really have a nation state anymore. I mean, again, you know, you look at the top and they're like, wow, China. Well, should we be doing a lot of business with China? And the other thing about that is, when we talk about business with China and we talk about people like, I don't know, Eric Schmidt, basically defending himself for working on the Dragonfly project, which is a censored form of their search engine for China, right? Working with them there. And then you have Peter Thiel on the other side of that, trying to say, China, bad, we shouldn't do this. This is treasonous. Yet what he does every single year as a Bilderberg steering member, meeting and colluding with 120 to 140 of the most powerful people in the world in private, I think that's treasonous, Mr. Thiel. And the fact that he was also recently revealed to be invested in Carbine, a company that seems to also be invested in Epstein and those that surround him, I don't know. You tell me. I mean, that the Carbine software, may not be Epstein himself, but Nicole Junkerman. It seems like the IDF. And then you look at what it is, this 911 app. It's a backdoor into your phone, into all of that data, building profiles on you. And if you don't think that they have a social credit score in line for you in the United States eventually, that's not the plan. I hate to tell you, it absolutely is. It's what I've warned about forever. They're rolling it out in China on a, massive level. They think by 2022 that the entire country is going to have this social credit score apparatus. And as more and more things become digital and as more and more things are integrated in this ever growing global society, what are we moving towards? We're moving towards a cashless society where you can pay with your phone. Everybody already uses a card. Cash is less convenient. People are willing to pay fees. Now in Sweden, people are actually taking the RFID chip as a way to pay for things. This should alarm people. We shouldn't be programming sky drones that are going to have artificial intelligence running them. I mean, is it how much different is it than Skynet and the Terminator series? Did we not learn from James Cameron? Did we not learn? Oh, with that being said, folks, I hope you dug the video. I'm doing 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 videos a day. Only got one in today. I had to take the dog to the doctor. Unfortunately, bad news. Don't want to get into it here, but not great. So, I've been a little slower today, but I'm going to try to kick at least one more video out today, if not another. And, guys, I only got a day or so left on the GoFundMe. We are over 4/5 of the way there. So if you can spare $5, $10, $15, it means the world for me, or to me, and it allows me to keep doing this on a not only regular basis, but in my opinion, a dominant basis. We're bringing it to them. It's not about left or right. It's about right and wrong. It's not about partisan politics and bullshit. It's about the real deal, the issues that matter. So if you dig this, please share this stuff on social media. Thumbs it up. If you're new to the channel, join the Burmist Brigade. Right now, we're 30K strong and growing every day. I want to thank everybody out there who has supported me. And guys, I will see you on the flip side.